For more on this, we are joined in our Beijing studio, Charles Liu, founder and chairman of the Hao Capital, who has been working intensively on renewable energy projects here in China and on many countries along the Belt and Road Initiative. Welcome to our program. Also, we would like to extend our welcome and greetings to Mr. Chen Lei, who is the Vice President of China National Oil and Gas Exploration and Development Cooperation. Welcome, sir. I want to start with you, Mr. Chen. Your company has been operating in countries along the Belt and Road Initiative, not just now, but for decades. So what does BRI, Belt and Road Initiative, present to you as the new momentum?
The step up for us, because we have a big scale in the world already. 35 countries and 91 projects, but still some upside room to go. So it is an opportunity.
Compared to Mr. Chen, Mr. Liu, I have to say this is a new opportunity for you.
In terms of the Belt and Road Initiative, anything you want to do, you need power. You want railway, you need power. New ports, you need power.
We understand the significance of power.
Right, so power has to come first. And nuclear power plant, not realistic, takes 10 years. Gas-fired power plant, just ordering the turbines is 3 years. Coal-fired power plant, 2.5 to 3 years. Given China's capacity for solar power, manufacturing, over 80% of the global capacity for manufacturing, you can have it set up, from planning to set up to producing power in 6 months. So many countries are very, very interested in having solar, renewable energy as the lead in getting things going. We've done projects in Pakistan, and we're now looking at projects in North Africa where the sun rays are much better than most of China. It's very hot.
When it comes to the sun and the solar energy, you are very excited, Mr. Liu. But you know, it is easier said than done, isn't it? I mean, it started with the competition in the bidding process.
Right, it is. You have major state-owned companies, you have a lot of private companies. It's really a question of the quality of construction, the quality of the build of the solar panels, whether or not deterioration is fast, and so on. So those are the issues which the buyers will look at.
Were you nervous when you were doing the bidding process?
No.
Really? You're that confident?
I'm very confident because there are some very, very good manufacturers in China. Very, very good. Chinese panels are now exported all over Europe. Germany is buying Chinese panels. And Japan. So,
that's true. Even though they have also very good production themselves.
That's right. They're buying. And the other part about this, I think it's most significant, is what happened to the economies of scale in China has reduced the price of solar per watt installed by more than 50% in 3 years. So now it's becoming commercially viable. And we also don't like, I think the Chinese government don't want people outside to feel that China is exporting dirty technology like coal-fired power plants. So in Pakistan's case, 1/3 of the new power stations being built by the Chinese government support is in solar, 900 megawatts.
You see rising industries, renewable energy. Mr. Chen, even though you are in the traditional energy, which is oil and gas, but still, when it comes to Belt and Road Initiative projects, environmental standards are extremely high. So how do you and your colleagues try to make sure it's going to happen and happen in the right way?
We have our standard. We have the industry standard. We follow that. It is the international standard.
It is not just about the environment. More concern is really from the security. I mean, you yourself, from 2008 until last year, stayed in Iraq on the ground for 8 years.
Yeah.
And you know how much challenge it would involve in terms of security and operating your business with the local governments, while at the same time make sure it is sound and viable. How does that work for you?
Yeah, it is a challenger. But in that time, I think it is a kind of a mission. You have to. We believe that the commitment is there. Because we have a lot, we have a lot of arrangement, organization
What
in
kind
place.
of arrangements?
Yeah, we have dedicated force. Dedicated force. This is a promise from the government.
In
it
Iraq.
it is a group. 100,000 people there. They're with the army, with weapon. So you feel like that.
You have big smile on your face, but to me, it's kind of
Scary.
dangerous. It's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah, good people. You can communicate with them. Anything. You can even visit their home. So it is not a stranger for us because 20 years ago in Sudan, it's the similar situation.
You were also working in Sudan?
Yeah, Sudan 5 years.
How
4
come
years.
your company always sent you to the most
Yeah,
dangerous?
that's why. They sent me to Challenger, that new project. Like
But
that,
what
yeah.
do you think are the most important conditions to be met on the ground to guarantee the security so that your projects, not only in Iraq now, but also in other countries along the Belt and Road,
Yeah.
will be safe and also will fulfill its mission as promised?
But basically, you have to judge. It is a place you can go. Then you go.
So the assessment report has to be well done before you
Yes.
go in. And
Yes.
once people go in, they have to believe that this is going to be something that we can work out.
Yes, and secondly, we can do something. We establish some system, defense. We do some, we have we have a force, like we call that petroleum field force, like that. They protect us. Also, we install some like a bunker, like a fence, lot fence.
You are telling only very small part of your personal experience, given the language limit. You already presented to us a part of reality. Mr. Liu, therefore I want you to come in. I mean, Chinese have this can-do spirit. It's amazing
Absolutely.
how much they have worked on these projects and how much they have to suck it before some success can be achieved.
It's really, I go back 5 years and I tell you about a case. This is not Belt and Road exactly, but I was in Stockholm speaking to a couple bankers, and they told me that day was very sad for Sweden. Why? Because the entire telecommunications 4G system was given in a contract to Huawei, not to the Swedish companies, the Danish companies, not to Ericsson.
And did they say
nothing.
why?
They said it was all a question of delivery time. Huawei committed to have it rolled out in 12 months, but the European companies are looking at 18 to 24 months because the Chinese workers are just so dedicated to finishing their work. Of course, I think there are bonuses involved too. They just want to finish the work and go home. So they work 16, 17 hours a day.
Wow.
And really, really did a great job of rolling out the system. And this is the same all around.
This is terrific. But at the same time, Mr. Chen, you have probably answered that question for us. Some people would consider that is a threat
Yeah.
because Chinese are so hardworking. It probably could be a threat to, let's just say, the local workforce. All the jobs are going to the Chinese. Are you really creating job opportunities for people there?
Because it is a kind of culture, custom for us, for Chinese, we try our best to do something. It's any time when you promise, when you have a commitment with your organization, then you try to deliver your promise. So this is kind of we have not so much chance to withdraw yourself, and everybody think like that. It is our culture.
You can't walk
I guess
back
maybe
from
from
your
our
promise.
culture, yes.
Yeah, but then you haven't answered
I
my
give
question.
you I
My
give you
question-
an answer to that, okay?
Go ahead.
For our solar project in Pakistan, Chinese construction group hired also local teams to help install. Once installed, the security force is all local employees, and they're actually very happy because they get paid a lot more than anything else they have. And you have to have local security forces, but they simply cannot replace the Chinese workers who put up the solar farm because it's a technical job.
Right.
And if they're not used to it, they can't do it.
So what we are seeing right now is a cooperation that
Right.
is urgently need to be established between the local labor force and also the Chinese that are coming in with the real projects.
We do have some experience with American force. You don't believe me because I try to be relaxed with the commander, the local commander. From U.S.
The U.S. commander
Yeah.
on the ground, was he tough?
Very friendly. So he promised to provide everything support.
Do you still remember his name?
I forgot the name, but I really appreciate that. In that time, the last around 2 years, they provide all the service. The ground service in the airport because it is a military airport. They provide every service for us. There are a lot of soldiers, so our staff together with them communicate and make joke, every transportation like that.
When we talk about Belt and Road Initiative, people talk about, well, how about the environmental threat? How about security threat? How about the threat to the local jobs? How about geopolitics? And what Mr. Chen seemed to suggest, when it's on the ground,
when it's
people
actually working.
People just work with one another.
Yes.
Yeah, our security people were fantastic, the locals. And they were not even high school graduates. This is a great job for them. And they take it very seriously in protecting the properties of the solar farm.
Right. And do they know the importance of having renewable energy?
It's the politicians who talk about it, unfortunately. They're not sophisticated in terms of the technologies of what it's all about. But of course, the senior government officials were very keen on having more renewable energy instead of polluting energy.
Yes.
Especially coal-fired power plants. They have no choice. They have to put in some coal-fired power plants. But they would like to have as little as possible. In fact, the Minister of Industry of Morocco is now talking about a much bigger project of using solar energy in the Sahara and shipping it to Europe through huge wire lines.
And all of this needs infrastructure.
Absolutely.
I mean, gentlemen, after talking to you, we are getting inspired in a way because what you are doing really are some great works on the ground, creating real impact, making people's life really better, and trying to solve problems that the politicians talk in the room, and yet you're there on the ground to solve them by your own force and your own power. It's amazing. So in the future, how is it likely to be done? Will that be China alone who is working on the Belt and Road initiatives? How to incorporate everybody into this process? And what about, traditional energy companies like yours? How are you going to plan your next stage of development, not here in China, but also globally with the Belt and Road Initiative? I think that is a legitimate question to ask.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a lot of brainstorm back at home already, Mr. Chen.
No, we have already set some we call that cooperation zone, 5 cooperation zone, and in Africa, America, and Asia, Middle East, like that, and Asia Pacific. All we have already located.
What are those zones for?
The zone 4 is a kind of level, the organization level. They in charge a lot of project. We call that upstream, middle stream, downstream. Upstream is oil development. Middle stream is pipeline. As you know, that we have a lot of pipeline,
right.
big one strategic pipeline, and downstream is a refinery that we sell fuel like that. Yeah.
So at this critical juncture, Mr. Liu, you both are coming from private and public sector and yet businesses. The politicians are going to have a forum. Their goal is to have policy coordination and create favorable environment for businesses. What do you think they need to do in order to support you guys do these wonderful things on the ground?
I think we really have to look at this on a country by country basis. You know, in terms of the Belt Road Initiative, for example, talking to my friends from Iran, okay, they were not very happy about the whole Belt and Road Initiative being described as a pathway to Europe from China. Oh, are we just a little stop by for you? You know, so if you described it as that, it's not very good. But if you describe it as an economic development corridor,
Which is true.
exactly. So in terms of China's government's policy, there has to be greater clarification of what this economic corridor means. We're not just building a pathway through you over to Europe. Now, I think each country's situation is very, very different in terms of their needs. Every country needs infrastructure. And that infrastructure ties it to the global economy, to trade, to manufacturing, to also better livelihood for its own people. I think the Belt and Road Initiative to go over land, basically, from China all the way over to Western Europe and to North Africa, is creating a massive market, massive destination for investments, and also improvement in livelihood for everybody. So but the policy coordination is more than the grand picture. It is really between the two countries involved specifically. For example, in Pakistan, there was a very specific thing, the railway to the special port on the Arabian Gulf, and that is one of the initial most important priority projects.
Right.
So what do you have in terms of that? You have to then provide power, provide manufacturing, provide jobs, hiring crews to build the railroad. So the government provided us with a lot in terms of our solar power. Getting the land cleared with permanent contracts and getting security, getting all of that was done by the local government. Very, very helpful. In the future, issues may come. For example, whether or not you get paid on time for the electricity that you generate, and those are
Get
I'm
your
sure,
money back.
Get your
Yeah,
money
get your
back.
money
back.
Those are always issues that have to be addressed in the long term.
Really a lot of respect, gentlemen, for both of you, and not only for investment, but also to implement the project in some of the challenging areas and make sure it's going to happen and thrive. Gentlemen, what a pleasure talking to you, two practitioners on the ground, Charles Liu and Chen Lei. Really appreciate it. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
being with us. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.